Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 261 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. And it's been a while since I said hello to this guy. He was one of my favorite interviews back in the day. He is a four-time All-Star. He is a two-time World Series champion, and he is a happily retired man. That would be Hunter Pence. Good to see you, my friend. Long time no chat.
Big Rose, I've been enjoying all of your work as always, and it is an honor. Thanks for wearing the Giants hat, and I really appreciate the support right there. And yeah, great to see you.
Are you sitting in a gamer chair?
Yeah, I am. This is like my home setup. I don't have a professional setup, so yeah, I'm just in like I think it was like I donated to some charity, and they gifted a chair for it.
Nice. So, are you a gamer?
Oh, I'm a massive gamer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so what are we playing? You're in your early 40s now, aren't you?
Yeah, 41.
Okay.
I am heavily addicted. So like my hobbies are basically surfing, community baseball, and then Dark and Darker, which is just an Iron Mace kind of. I love all fantasy like books, so I read a lot. Obviously, you can see we got like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. So it's kind of a fantasy extraction loot dungeon game.
Okay, and how many hours a day you spend?
Too many. I don't even want to count.
Come on, give it up.
I have no idea, but a lot. If I have free time, that's what I'm doing usually. I'll have a game on one side. We have the Vibe House, which is like all the guys. We put the game on. We run into the dungeon, and it's just like being in the clubhouse. You know, it's nice.
So who are these guys you play with?
Just some friends, some homies from all over, from all the different walks of life. Some of my coffee friends, some of my real life friends, some of my gamer friends, and it's a rotation of about 12 to 20 of us.
I love that. Do you stream it live?
I have before, not too often, but every now and then, yeah.
Now, do your baseball worlds and your gamer worlds, do they know Hunter Pence doing this?
Everyone in the Discord definitely knows who I am. When I'm gaming, no, but if I'm streaming it, yes. Like, so most of my streaming, no matter what game I'm playing, will be a lot of baseball questions and baseball chat. And I have a lot of like good friends whenever I do hop on. I was doing a lot of it before 2021, once we kind of came out of COVID. But in COVID, I did a lot of streaming. And then once I got into broadcasting and baseball, we go out and be outside again. I didn't have time for it.
Okay, so Blake Snell talks a lot of shit when he's on streams. I can't imagine you talking back to me. That's not you.
No, I'm not. That's not my community or my vibe. You know, I'm pretty much, I'm pretty positive in general, and it's just natural. It's intentional as well. So, I try to repay hatred with love. I don't think that's just kind of my thing. Is I'm positive one direction, and and if you tell me I suck or whatever, then you're probably right. Nah, it's okay.
So well before the Hunter Pence signs became famous, and people were talking shit to you in the outfield, because you could hear it out there, right?
Oh yeah. I'm wiggling my camera here a bit. There we go.
That's all right. But you could hear it when you were back in the
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you
I have some funny ones.
What do you got?
Well, you haven't heard these? I've told them a couple times, but my two favorite ones. There's about three really, really good ones. But for the most part, I would just tip my head to the side and rhythm and be like, yeah, you're right. But I would say that two of my favorites were actually as a visiting player against San Francisco. And I had this one lady, and I called her the Hag. I have no idea what she looks like, but I'll give you my impression of what she said. She went, this is batting practice. She goes, hey, bird legs! What are you doing wearing your pants up, bird legs? Don't you know you're not supposed to show your shortcomings, bird legs? She was just going off on me, and I was like, damn, that's so sensitive. I lift a lot of legs. It's just, I got skinny genetics. She got me good. And so that one was intense. And then during the game, there was a person. This one's fun. It was actually also in San Francisco. So center field, not the same lady. She disappeared after the game started. That was just batting practice. Then, the whole start of the game, this guy starts rattling off sentences, and he ends every sentence with "ya loser." So he's like, what are you doing, ya loser? You can't hit the ball out of the infield? What was that swing, ya loser? You're going back to Round Rock. That was AAA for the Astros at the time. You loser. aren't you worried? And like literally did not stop and kept going. So about the 6th inning, I thought for sure, I was like, this was like my rookie year. I was like, all right, I'm just going to ignore him. He'll get tired. And about the 6th inning, he's still going. I'm like, I got to see what this guy looks like. So I turn around and look at him, and it's a guy with a massive beard in a wheelchair. And he's like, what are you doing looking at me, you loser? What? Turn around and play the game. You're such a loser. So I'm like, oh, like he sees me looking at him. So I'm like, I turn back around to like, not look at him. And he goes, look at me when I'm talking to you, you loser. I'm sorry if I'm screaming in your microphone.
No, it's great. Are you kidding me? So when you get traded to San Francisco, did you ever meet these people?
I remember one time I was like I was really fascinated. San Francisco was like worlds different than where I grew up. So like I always loved like walking around the cities. Like breakfast and coffee was my thing. And just walking around San Francisco at that time, it was just like I remember seeing people just in like costumes walking around, and like nobody ever does that in Texas. You go out and I grew up in Texas. You walk around in Texas, we all kind of got blue jeans on, a buttoned up shirt, collar shirt, maybe a t-shirt, who knows. At that time, yeah, and like people were just wearing all sorts of crazy outfits and stuff. So I just was like fascinated. I remember telling Ron Wotus, who eventually was my coach, I was like, man, people are crazy here. He's like, I don't know, people seem kind of crazy in Texas too. And I was like, I never thought of that. And I guess it's just different way of thinking. But then when I came here, it was like the opposite. Like they support you so hard. And I was like, man, it was so intense playing here. But then when you do play here, it's really awesome. So it's a really unique fan base.
All right, more with Hunter coming your way. But first, you know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. With bold flavors and a refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your ass, have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect. Your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. Why don't you go outside, enjoy the fresh, clean air, and get competitive as well? Go have a longest drive contest or putting contest. Go do something with fishing or maybe football. You could toss a frisbee. You could even play video games. Go throw on a gamer headset. You could play kickball. You could play pickleball. You could play wiffle ball. You could play blitzball. You could play any kind of ball out there. Why? Because the mountain is calling and you should answer. So grab your friends, grab an ice-cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold. And I got 3 words for you. Do the do. Why do you think it worked so well for you? A kid from Texas going out to San Francisco, totally different, ends of the earth in terms of culture and thinking and all sorts of stuff. So why did it work so well, that partnership?
For me, it just feels like that's where I belong, and I really enjoy the beauty of the city. I love it. I love the people. I love the thought process. I love the creativity. I love the free thinking, and it just kind of aligns with me. And really, I feel like San Francisco, I kind of turned into a different person and like kind of, I guess, like almost like the caterpillar to the butterfly, where I transmorphed into like allowing like a new way of thinking that was like, oh, I really like this. And it kind of opened my mind. And it just feels like I belong here and it feels right. I love it.
Are you still there?
Oh, yeah. I live in San Francisco now.
So you have officially made it home.
Yeah. And I mean, I broadcast with the Giants and work with the team. And we have the Healthy Planet Project, which is, my nonprofit that is building the community to reduce pollution, planting trees. Like the goal is like the Johnny Appleseed is the dream. I want to plant as many trees as I can, but turns out you got to plant trees that actually are really healthy for where you're planting them. And so it's a really fun project and we're having a good time doing it.
That is so awesome. Proud of you, man. That is great.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
So has Buster Posey said, come help me out?
He hasn't said anything, I'm sure he's busy and swamped, but I think he knows. Yeah, he's texted me one time with one question, and that's really been about it. But he will hear from me because I do want to be at spring training. I love the opportunity to, be around the guys, and I literally just hang out in the batting cage and batting practice and listen hitting, bounce stuff off the walls and get to know the players. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do that. But I'm sure he's busy. If he needs me, he knows how to reach me.
What was the one thing he texted you?
I can't talk about that.
Clubhouse stuff?
No, it was professional stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Tapping your brain, Pence. Like that.
Just relationships, people and things. So checking in.
So I will admit, as much as I love Buster, I'm skeptical just because it doesn't get done a lot where guys walk off the field. He's had a few years where he's sat in on some meetings, but we're talking about day-to-day grind from here on out. Still a young father of 4. It is a huge undertaking. Explain why you think he'll be successful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably a more normal way of thinking, the way you look at it, Chris. And you know, you kind of have that perspective, a very beautiful, neutral outside perspective. But I've worked beside him. I've seen what he's done. I know what he's been through. I know what he's capable of, how his process works. And the amount of time that I was around him, there's no one with a bigger competitive fire that I have ever met. There's no one that, like, he's just absolutely brilliant. He also is just he's gifted in so many walks of life. He was able to just not only be the catcher that has to, like, you know, you're the quarterback, you have to know everything about everyone. He's also, like, you know, just the way he works at clubhouse. He sees everyone. He knows the right thing to say, the right thing to do, when to press, when to put more pressure, when to lighten up. He just has this beautiful touch and understanding of the game of baseball and a genuine care of you know, the Giants organization, of, you know, what that represents, and, you know, being a part of it. It means a lot to him. And now he's an owner, and I think that he wouldn't have taken this if he didn't genuinely love the game of baseball, love the Giants organization. And, like, he doesn't have to do this, right? He wants the accountability. He wants the challenge. And I think that that's really special. But just knowing how much he knows about the game, how he does business, how smart he is, and will he succeed right away? Who knows? But if you give him time, he will be really, really good at whatever he chooses. I believe that with all my heart.
I think that even in the decade since you guys last won a World Series, that the landscape of baseball has changed. Look at the 2 teams we have left, and we're recording this on the day where the World Series starts. You have got, I mean, it's possible we could have 6 to 8 Hall of Famers playing in this series, which is a ton. The Giants, even though they've added some nice pieces in recent years, have kind of swung and missed on the big fish, if you will. Do they need to land a Juan Soto type in order to get back in this thing?
I mean, that would be nice. I don't think that it's necessary. You know, obviously, I think they're going to be going for Juan Soto. He is going to change whatever franchise, and he's going to create a lot of history. He is an exceptional talent. He's extremely clutch in the postseason. He immediately makes you a contender just by adding him. So, yeah, I think they're going to look for a Juan Soto type for sure. I think Buster, he kind of, you know, like, we tried some really open-minded things, and we did a lot of things, but, like, who are you rooting for if you, like, have one lineup one day and another lineup the other day? And you know, as a fan, and so I think that he's going to get back to, and I think you say that it's changed, but it was like this whole data thing with the Astros, but, like, literally it's kind of been very similar. What's been winning World Series, and it's been everyday players, a couple that you know, move in and out, a couple pinch hitters here and there, but you need consistency. You need everyday at bats. You need ownership. You need accountability. You need pitching, and you need defense. This is just, you know, the bottom line. The Yankees, they do have a very deep lineup, but they also have a very good bullpen and a very good pitching staff. And same, the Dodgers bullpen has been incredible this postseason. So that Padres Dodgers series was one of the greatest played series I've ever seen. But you watch the American League, there was a lot of errors, a lot of sloppiness that led to a lot of things, but also a lot of clutch hitting. It was very, very fun to watch. But I just think that the Padres Dodgers series to me was one of the best I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was a fun one. No doubt about it. Speaking of fun, I loved covering your teams that were in the World Series. You weren't there in 2010. You got there in 2012 at the trade deadline. You won it all that year. You won it in 2014. What was it like walking into that clubhouse where you had a bunch of guys that had already won a World Series and personalities all over the place? What was it like for you day one?
Day one, I mean, at the time, I was, like, really shocked I got traded from Philly because I thought we were still trying to win. But, you know, so bittersweet, very excited, right? Like, because Lincecum, I had faced him. He was the nastiest pitcher I ever faced in his prime. Matt Cain was always really cool. I had cross paths with both of them. Got to meet Bumgarner, you know, and we just had, you know, Pablo was so fun. Got to play with him in an all-star game, and, like, loved his personality. Like, that whole staff in the, I don't remember, the World Series, or not the World Series, the All-Star game in Arizona the year before, was just, like, really, really kind of just a fun group that brought a lot of enthusiasm and energy with Boch and Flannery and Wotus and these guys. So Honestly, it was and Sergio Romo. It was and Brian Wilson. He was hurt that year, but he did a lot in the clubhouse. Barry Zito, another wild one, just like all sorts of really eccentric personalities, and it was very much like almost like a zoo that Bochy was managing and putting together. And I was like, man, it had always been really businesslike, and now all of a sudden it's really crazy. This is awesome, and it just kind of like was a very loose, but there's also the structure of a buster, and we had a little bit of all of it, and it was a fun time for sure. It was crazy.
Who was the nuttiest one out of that group?
It's tough to say, man. A young, and I'm sure they'll admit it, a young Lincecum, Romo, and Pablo. And then even Barry Zito was really wild and fun to talk to. Just interesting conversations, very interesting people. I don't know, Wilson in that time was really, he was like stand-up comedy. He's crazy smart, and it was just a really fun group.
Was it hard for you because you took on a real leadership role almost it felt like from the word go, right? And I imagine that's not the easiest thing when you're around guys that have already won a World Series together and done that. Was it difficult trying to find your way, or were you like, okay, well, this is exactly who I am, and I feel like I could be a leader here?
I mean, it was kind of organic, and it was honestly not just me. It was kind of like we called it like the Council of Elders, and I was just the voice, and because like all of that was brought like the first one was like a conversation from Javi Lopez, who by the way is a 4-time World Series champion, one of the greatest communicators I've ever had as a teammate, and he was like, and I had a similar like loss the year before with the Phillies when we were definitely the most talented team. And we got where our backs were against the wall, and everyone kind of got kind of quiet. And then, but Hobby called it out, and everyone was getting kind of quiet. We lost the first 2 to Cincinnati, and Hobby goes, "Man, if we don't say something, we are dead." And I was like, "Look, I don't want to go home. I'll say anything. What needs to be said? Buster, what needs to be said? Jeremy, what needs to be said? Boach, I'm going to say something. Scutero." And Scutero was agreeing with him, and Wilson chimed in, and then I was like, everyone kind of like we all built like a message for us, like, what do we need to do to get this done? And then when we did the same thing when we faced the Cardinals, I remember I just called everyone together because you just need to talk it out and you need to face it. Like facing it together just feels more empowering. So I felt like with the Phillies, everyone was like, I got this. And when I was with the Giants, it was like, we just need to be ourselves. Let's go after it for each other. Let's go after this together. If we go down, who cares? But like, I want to see you again tomorrow. Like I'm giving everything I have for you. And it was like, we don't know who's going to be the hero. Who cares? Like, I don't got this, but we are going to fight together because we want to stay together. Like, we want to keep playing. That was kind of the message. Like, well, I don't care if we have to win 100 games in a row. I'm giving you everything I got today.
So that's something that started when you guys were 0-2 in that best-of-5 series in Cincinnati, and then you won the last few on the road there, keyed by, I think, a Posey grand slam, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So what did you tell those guys that day?
Similar to that. Like, hey, look, like, I also like played against them, and I just wanted to remind them, like, I played against you guys on the other side. Like, we are really good. Like it is tough to play against us. And we won this division by 10 games, and we have a chance to do something special. We may never get another chance to play in the playoffs again. And I just want to let you know, like, I don't want to go home. Like, I don't care what the Red Sox did, who came back from what. All I care about is what we decide in this room, and I made my decision. Like, I will give everything I have to see you tomorrow. I want to play one more day with you. I love this game. I love this team. This is a fun year. And I don't care if we have to win 100 games in a row. Today, in between these lines, I'm coming. And it was kind of like I think I literally said this. I don't know if this is a healthy perspective, but it's where I was at the time. I was like, I will die happy on the field today going for a win.
That's awesome. I think Giants fans, they probably get a bunch of goosies just even hearing about that, man.
And yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I feel like I had channeled a thought momentum. I had been doing so I was kind of possessed by like whatever it takes. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was fun times and it was well worth it. And I put a crazy amount of mental focus into that season and that team and had a blast. And so did everyone else. What a journey.
All right, more of the show is coming your way, but first I want to tell you about True Classic Tees. They have become a huge staple in my wardrobe. Why? two things. They look great, they hide my dad bod, and they feel amazing. They are so soft. And for a guy who gets really itchy with certain fabrics on his skin, that is so key. In fact, I just got back from Europe with the lovely Mrs. Rose. I wore my True Classic tees not once, not twice, but 3 times on the trip because they look great and they made me feel wonderful. They are designed to fit you perfectly. They're snug in the arms and chest, just the right amount of room in the midsection as well. True Classic sells premium products at a very affordable price. You can get their best-selling T-shirts, hoodies, and jeans, and more in 3, 6, and 9 packs. And True Classics activewear, it becomes essential for workouts and vacations alike. Their activewear crew necks offer moisture-wicking, quick-dry, and odor control. So you pair them with their super soft, stretchy joggers for all-day comfort. So fall, not around the corner. It is here, and it's time to step up your game. Right now, you can unlock big savings when you bundle packs. So just go to my exclusive link. That is trueclassic.com/rose to save. That is trueclassic.com/rose. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today. Well, then you shared your speech right at the end of the 2014 season. You grabbed the mic. I don't know if this was a moment to kind of thank the fans, but you guys had to go, I believe, to Pittsburgh to go play the one-game wild card to start your journey. And you got them all chanting the Daniel Bryan, let's do it. Let's just give it a little taste just for a second here.
One more time, fellas. Yes, yes, yes. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Now, that is just a small slice of basically almost a 3-minute speech that you gave where you got everybody riled up and everything. Now, I have to admit, I didn't know the whole Daniel Bryan thing because I wasn't a big wrestling guy at the time. I followed a little bit more. You saw me on Intentional Talk. You thought I was making fun of you. Do you remember this?
No.
Oh, my gosh. Because I saw you in the playoffs that year. You were like, you made fun of me for the yes, yes, yes. I was like, I wasn't
I called you out.
You did. You did. I walked past. I think you were playing catch with somebody in the outfield. You're like, wait, Rose, why were you making fun of me? I was like, I wasn't making fun of you, Hunter. I wasn't making fun of you. I didn't follow the whole Daniel Bryan, yes, 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 but you got everybody to believe in that.
Yeah, that was there's more to it. That was like, once again, something that was intentional, and it was the offseason. You know, we lost in 2013 and we had won in 2012, and I was just like really inspired. I actually watched the Rose Bowl celebration of Michigan State, and they did this dance to Rich Homie Quan at the time, and he was actually there. And at the end, this country lineman got down and like loaded his, and I don't really watch wrestling. And he loaded up and he went, yes, yes. And everyone did it. And I was like, that is sick. Like, I felt the power of that. And it was like such a cool celebration. And I was like, man, imagine if I could get the whole stadium to do the yes movement to do that. Like, and so I kind of like dreamed it in the offseason. And I remember, Bam Bam had made these like hitting teams, and we were like doing this competition. So there were captains, and you had a draft order, and it was like me, Pablo, and Buster were like the captains, and we drafted our teams, and it was pretty even. And every month you got certain points for whatever, and we had to name our team. And so Morse was like on my team; he was my first pick, and so I had showed him that clip, and I was like, "Let's be the yes movement, and let's be, you know." And so anytime our group got points or did anything, we would start doing that. And so like they started doing it at the scoreboard. The Giants like kind of picked up on it. And at the end of the year, I got the honor. It's an honor. One of the veterans gets to address the crowd on Fan Appreciation Day. And like, I knew, I remember like kind of getting quiet and being like, you got to have guts to do this. I don't know how you're going to pull this off, but I'm just send it, you know? And I was like, listen, and I believe in this. There was like this old Bud Light commercial or something like that, where it was like, it's not weird if it works. And it's like a football commercial. And it's like, you got to wear your orange belts when they're hitting a field goal. Or like, even my sister's like, if you're not winning, I go and start driving around in the car, because if we're in the house, it's not the good vibe, you know? So like, and I called on the fans. I was like, look, whatever it is that works for you, send us that energy. Do you want to see one more game here? Because we weren't guaranteed one. We had to go to Pittsburgh, and I was like, yes. And they just started doing it. I was like, do you want to have another parade here? You know, whatever the case may be, just get them going. And sure enough, you know, I was like, I believe in minds working together. You got to believe with us.
It was amazing. It really was great. Did you ever hear from Daniel Bryan, by the way?
Yeah, that actually started where they brought the belt. I finally figured out where it came from, and it was such a cool story. What an amazing guy! And like everyone used to be, he was disliked at first, and then all of a sudden, everyone started joining him and loving him. It's just a very powerful move. And he came to the parade and brought the belt. And it did so good for WWE and WWF publicity and marketing wise that they now bring it to all the parades. Everyone gets a belt. So I think I was the first one that ever happened to.
Do you have a belt?
I think so. Or I might have given it to my nephew or something, but I think I have one.
That's a great uncle. Are you kidding me? I'd be hanging on that shit forever.
He wanted it,
That's pretty good. What is it that separates San Francisco? Because I think that they do the best out of all 30 major league teams of incorporating their stars of yesteryear and making them feel a part of today's organization, and the players totally reciprocate that feeling. I mean, when your name goes up on the wall, you're hugging some of the legends, not only of San Francisco Giants lore, but of baseball lore. I mean, but it's not like, oh, we'll see you one time a year. I feel like it's family.
I mean, it definitely starts from the top down, and they have a saying here that, forever Giant, and they treat all of their, it's definitely like a family that they respect, and they treat you really, really well, from Greg Johnson to Larry Baer to the marketing that they have and that they put their faith in. Faham is just absolutely insane, and the connection they have to the fans. And I think it's really just authenticity and genuine care. And they treat you like that. They tell you that from day one. And just having that class and integrity, it means a lot. And it's a special place. It's the fact. And I think they also understand, and you realize this more when you're done, how much it's a part of the fabric of the city and how much your community impact really, really is exponential. And like the Giants are synonymous with San Francisco. It's just, it's a beautiful relationship. And they get that. They get that it's bigger than just baseball. And baseball is great. But it's the people, it's the relationships, it's the city that we represent.
You guys suffered 2 monumental losses this year in Willie Mays, Juan Marshall. What was your relationship with the Say Hey kid?
He was always there, and he was ready to talk to you about anything. He was really honest with you, and it was really spectacular. And you always knew, I mean, there's no bigger legend than that. Like when you come over to the Giants and he's always in the clubhouse and he's always around, it set a standard and a statement, and you felt surrounded by excellence. And Barry Bonds is showing up. Barry Bonds is around. And they put a lot of time and effort and their willingness to talk to you no matter what. And to tell you the truth, I mean, he would just give me tips on little things, and very matter of fact, but very wise, and very, he was just very, very practical with all of his stuff, but also funny and joking a lot and very giving. He wanted to give you too many things. I'm like, Willie, I don't need anything, man. But yeah, we really had a good having him around, and he's going to definitely be missed.
I'll tell you this, man. If Bob Costas gave me broadcasting tips, I would have called my parents back in the day and been like, Bob Costas just told me something that I could use. I would have been like a little kid again, man. I can only imagine what it's like if Willie Mays is giving you hitting tips.
Yeah, I mean, he would tell you to use a heavier bat or a lighter bat or how many home runs you were going to hit. And, and it was weird. Like, I remember one year he told me, he's like, you'll probably hit around 25 this year, maybe 27. And I was like, I'm going to hit like 30. Willie's like, you don't hit 30? You ain't going to hit 30. And I sure enough hit like 25 or 27. I was like, damn it, Willie.
He knows all.
Well, playoff baseball is coming down to the final stretch. Get in on the playoff action at DraftKings Sportsbook, from same-game parlays to live betting to odds boost and so much more. DraftKings has you covered until a champ is crowned. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets when you use promo code ROSE. Stay in on the action and use promo code ROSE and bet your $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime homers on DraftKings. So download DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and new customers use promo code ROSE and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ROSE only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
You also made some great catches in your time. I want to talk about one that you made and one that you didn't. but almost did. You caught Lincecum's, I think it was an 8th inning catch in the no-hitter down in San Diego, and you just missed out on the Petit catch where he was going for the perfect game in the 9th inning. Which of those two plays do you think about more?
Oh, definitely the one I missed. I have nightmares. Like it felt like that dream where you're like running from something and you can't move. And Yusmeiro Petit is just such an amazing teammate and such an unsung hero. Like he threw 6 innings of not giving up a run for us to win that game in Washington, and they were the National League favorite in extra innings. Like, and every single time he went out there, it was like if he gave up a run, it was over. And I think this ended his perfect inning streak right there. That it like I think he broke like a major league record of perfect innings. And you can see that I was like 2-3 feet short. Like it just sucked.
Does it pain you still to look at that?
Yeah, it hurts bad. I just like there. I mean, there's not. I could have maybe played a step or two to the left. Like, and I remember the at bat because Boch was really like trust your instincts, and Chavez all season the only place he had hit the ball was the other way, so he had never hit anything to left field. And if I obviously hindsight is 2020, so he's always doing this, so really inside it. And I was like, oh, like he's not going to pull anything with this swing. But the one thing that he will never hit it to me unless he's out in front, and because he's doing this and then he becomes this. So the only place he's going to hit it is a short one over there. Like he's not going to hit something over there. So I was like kind of a little bit over that way on him, and he was a pinch hitter. And I think like that's the difference is like where I was positioned.
Even though you didn't do anything wrong, do you apologize to Petit afterward, or you you did?
Yeah, he's not going to accept. He's like, dude, it's not your fault, but to me it is.
Oh, Hunter, that's tough. I don't like hearing that out of you. You did everything you could, man.
I mean, I could have not been playing where I was playing, so it's tough. Yeah, that one stung because he deserved a perfect game. He's just such an amazing teammate. The next year, I remember I broke my arm, and I was like in a cast in spring training, and I couldn't like get my laundry loop like fixed, and it's all sweaty, nasty clothes, and he like did it for me, and I'm just like, dude, he's just like the greatest teammate, and like he always had a smile. He had a really tough role. Boch like would throw him in any inning. He was like that guy that was like sometimes he's starting, sometimes he's a long reliever. Sometimes he's like in a big situation, and it's just like, and he always was the same guy, and he always pitched really well, and he never threw hard. And even asked Bob Melvin, like he had him with the A's, he went to the Angels, like, and he had like a low 2 for a long, long time, and had an amazing career, and was just kind of this unsung hero that never got too high, never got too low, was the same guy every day. I just love Yusmeiro Petit.
Was Madison Bumgarner really that surly, or was part of it a skit?
Was he really that what?
Surly.
I don't even know what that means. You got to use words I understand. But
okay, sorry. Was he really that grumpy all the time?
You know what? I don't know. I think so. He was pretty grumpy. But it was kind of like intentional. He's like a cowboy. Some people just want to watch the world burn, and like he was a real cowboy. He just like, he's like, riding horses and wanting to rodeo and wanting to, just do his cowboy thing. And it's just who he was. He's not a softie at all. He's a tough guy, and he was a beast, and he was awesome. He was awesome to play behind. He had a lot of confidence. He was an emotional, just neutral, like no moment was too big. He wanted the bigger the pressure, the bigger he got. It was super cool.
When that barn door swung open at Kauffman Stadium in Game 7 and your starting pitcher walks through there, was there a little bit of it like, ooh, this is on?
I mean, that's Game 7, dude. That whole day is just nuts. And I remember everyone. It was just such a intense energy and atmosphere, and it felt like time. Like that one day felt like 3 months. It just takes forever for the game to get there. I remember him, like, he was just doing his workouts and, like, watching him move. And at that time, it just felt like he couldn't be stopped. And he was like, Pensy, it's all mental. It's just a mind. I can pitch today. I got it. And he was literally just doing, like, insane stuff in the weight room. And I'm just like, he's just a freak. At the time, he was, like, chugging 6 beers in the celebrations. And most of it, he was pouring down his shirt. But still, he was just like, I don't know. He was just Paul Bunyan.
He hated Yasiel Puig, right?
You know, he always a cowboy. He wanted to tussle. He wanted to get rowdy. I don't want to use the word or say that he hated anyone. What was it? What does he say? He went to tell him good swing, and then they asked him what Yasiel Puig said back. He said, I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. So, you know, he just
own guy, man. He really is. What is the thing that we don't know about Tim Lincecum that you know as playing with him?
You know, he can literally hear a song one time and he knows every little lyric, every little sound bite, every little thing that like things that you never even hear in a song. He'll like beep boop, and then like he just like, I don't know, musically he can hear, he can repeat movie lines perfectly. He can sing every word perfectly. And like, you know, when you like, for me, I can never get the words right. I can hear a song 100 times. I'm still going to mess it up. But he like literally has it down one time. Crazy.
You said that before you got to be his teammate that he was the best pitcher you ever faced. Is that what you
Nastiest
said?
pitcher I ever faced.
Why?
I mean, well, he had that crazy windup. He hit the ball extraordinarily well. He was throwing 101 that started off the plate away, ran in 3 feet, and was inside off the plate. He had a curveball that looked like it was going to hit you. Like you had to decide whether you wanted to be willing to die or stay in if it was a curveball. Because it was a fastball, it's lights out. So that curveball was disgusting. It looked like a fastball was going to hit you in the ear. And then he threw me a split finger one time when I finally got on some of those to like foul him off. That broke like a left-handed through the sharpest left-handed curveball you've ever seen. So he threw me a right-handed, left-handed curveball.
So did you, when you became teammates with him, was it one of those, thank God I'm here so I don't have to see you sort of deals? Is that what you did?
It was like, man, it's kind of nice being behind these guys. Yeah, it was fun to play behind them. I mean, like every one of our starting pitchers had like a 2 in 2012. Like it was just like a lot, really relaxed on the offensive side. It's like, we just got to score 3 and it's over.
Finally, with those teams, you were there for the Pablo 3-homer game. We celebrated the 12-year anniversary of that. The fact that it came, I believe, against Verlander. The first couple was pretty.
I think Verlander like won the MVP that year.
Yeah, pretty good, I suppose.
Or did Cabrera? Cabrera might have, but maybe he won it the year before.
Yeah. Point is that he was a pretty good pitcher. I thought like there was never a better melding of a relationship between a player like Pablo and a city like San Francisco. And I think that it took his trip to Boston and that failed experiment to show just how important sometimes. I never begrudge a player for chasing money. Never would. But if you accept a little bit less, stay in a place where you're comfortable, I always use that as the example. Is that accurate, do you think?
I think it's case by case and everyone's going to make their own decisions. I think Pablo learned a good lesson and I'm glad that they welcomed him back. And he was just young at the time and very emotionally, he hadn't matured. He changed a lot, grew up and the game of baseball. And he's just an amazing human that he grew into. And I think he just wasn't mature enough to be making that decision at the time. I think he learned some great things, though. And I'm glad that he came back and got to finish in San Francisco. He'll always be beloved here. He is just a hard-working. He doesn't get enough credit for how hard he was of a worker. I remember we lived in the same building one year, and he would be at like 9:30. I'd go down for a cup of coffee, and he'd be drenched in sweat because he already did a morning workout. And then he would go to the field and do all the practice, and he just brought so much energy and so much laughter and like. You think of kind of like a Buddha, like the big, and he was better when he was thicker versus when he got skinny. And because he had this energy about him, it was just like he's like a wild boar, and he's just always messing with everyone and bringing and supporting everyone and having everyone's back. And he was a tough cookie, and he also was one of the best ever at like his hands. Like Bumgarner loved him at third because he's like, I throw the cutter inside, I get a lot of grounders. He's like, if they hit it at Pablo, he does not miss. And like if you throw someone out, like he catches it, puts the tag on you, and like blocked the bag back in those days better than anyone I had ever seen. He was so coordinated with his hands.
And he's ambidextrous. Like he throws left-handed as well. Did you ever play catch with him, lefty?
Oh yeah, he would always be laughing and doing it. And that's the thing. Who doesn't like being around someone that's always laughing, always like there's never a dull moment around Pablo because he's always, and he would always come over if you were like slumping or something, and he'd like bring his spikes over and he'd be like, all right, let me see your spikes. And he would drop like 2 cleats, and he'd had all these antics that were like, he was just always trying to make some like energy shift or make you laugh or do something that gave you a little confidence for no reason. I think in 2014 he was like dancing in Bumgarner's boots before every game.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like he just like had a lot of life, a lot of fun.
Love it. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your earlier years in Houston. So what do you remember about your first homer?
Oh boy. I remember it was a grand slam and it was in St. Louis and they were a big rival of ours. So I remember that. It was a blowout though.
Well, don't say though. I mean, come on. They all count.
Yeah, it counted. It counted.
Did you know that you hit it?
I think so. I don't remember really.
Look at little Hunter Pence rounding the bases.
Clean shaven. Yeah. I snuck one over.
Do you still have the ball?
I think so. A lot of my memorabilia is just like in like storage somewhere. Like I don't have a display. Like there's not a lot of real estate in San Francisco. It's kind of tight quarters.
That's a good point.
I don't have a mansion over here. I'm in an apartment.
You also are one of the few guys that got traded during a game where you got called off of the field. Is that the weirdest thing you had happen to you in your career?
I mean, at that point, it was kind of anticipated because a couple days before, like I did not think that I was going to get traded. Like, you always have the dream to, I was born in Texas. It was definitely awkward, but everyone kind of knew. And then I got to see everyone that night at the hotel restaurant, and they gave me some good advice. And at that point in my career, that's Dave Clark. He was my AA manager and helped me out a lot. But it was an emotional time. I thought I was going to be with the Astros for forever. It worked out, like, once again, great life journeys. But you have that dream to be a Craig Biggio or a Jeff Bagwell or, someone who just like plays in one, Chipper Jones in one city for forever. And that's just not necessarily the nature of the business. It's also not necessarily what's always best for you or the team or the organization. So the Phillies, and I was kind of primed. My baseball work had put me in a position to be ready to go play some playoff baseball. And that was kind of my window of your prime seasons, your prime years. And so it was definitely once again, every time you get traded, it's bittersweet. You're leaving something you really care about, something you wanted to build, but you go to a new opportunity, and it was awesome to go to Philly.
Yeah, I mean, you were joining a team that was veteran laden, that was championship tested already, and then you mentioned it already in 2011. You had that Game 5. I think it finished 1-0.
Yeah,
right. It was Halladay and Carpenter, I believe. That was the game where Ryan Howard blew out his Achilles on the last out of the game. The whole bit. Did it feel like that was a huge opportunity lost because of the amount of talent on your Phillies?
Oh, yeah. We could not believe it. Could not believe it. We definitely thought we were winning the World Series that year. We were maybe too confident, but that lineup, the talent on that team, with Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt, we had, what was it, the Roytation, they were calling it. Our closer was Lidge, and we had Ryan Madson, who's also a World Series closer at the back end. Ibanez was on that team, hit 20-some homers. Polanco at third, saw like literally insane. Rollins, Utley, Howard. Howard hit 40 homers that year. I was in my prime. Carlos Ruiz, who was an amazing catcher. Victorino in center. It was just that team was insane, and everyone was in their prime. Everyone.
How'd you guys lose?
Baseball. It was like this cold night, and like sometimes it's just not meant to be. Like, but I feel like Howard, Utley, even Ibanez and I like literally were crushing balls. And when it gets cold in Philly, the wind just like was howling in that day. And the first ball hit actually should have been a home run for Call. I remember it got knocked down. It was a line drive. It hit the wall. He hit a triple. I think Terrio hit like a grounder, and then everything else in the air was just an out.
Tough one.
Yeah, it was not. You got to catch lightning in a bottle. It's not always the most talented team. You need a little bit of luck too. A couple things to go your way, and they just didn't. It was the year the Cardinals, and what was it, the freezer that year? What a crazy run they had.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty amazing stuff. You're right about that. So the day after you retired, you did something interesting. You went out to McCovey Cove, you and Lex, and it looks like a bunch of your friends. And how long before people realized that, wait a second, that's Hunter Pence on that boat? So you ended up like signing baseballs. It looked like forever, the whole bit. How much fun was that day?
Oh, it was awesome. So this was actually, this wasn't the day after like I got released or whatever. It was like the last game of the season. If they won, they went to the playoffs actually. So they were like right in it. And I always wanted to go and watch a game at McCovey Cove. I wanted to see what it was about. So it was like, let's go support them. There was no fans in the stadium. So yeah, we just like went out there. We had our signs. We wanted to cheer them on. We wanted to hang out with all the people that were out there in their kayaks and yeah, just signing baseballs and having a good time. It was sweet.
Seems like
check that. That's like, what is it? The bucket list, you know,
yeah.
Check that off the bucket list.
It seemed like the perfect way for your career to come to a conclusion. To be honest with you, right? You intermingling with, right? You intermingling.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was the perfect time. My body was done. I loved every minute of my time. I got to do some things that I know I was very fortunate and very privileged to be a part of. Such great teams. Worked very hard to earn that opportunity, but I know a lot of people have worked very hard and didn't get to, be on some teams that did what we did. So I realized how fortunate that was. But that is kind of my personality, is like, let's go have fun. Let's go enjoy the fun things that baseball has to offer. Let's go and celebrate with the fans. I always said when I was playing that I'm not just a player, I'm also a fan. Like, I love the game. I love to watch it. I love to broadcast it. I love to coach it, talk it, learn it. It's like trying to solve baseball is trying to find the answer to a question that has no answer. There's so many things to constantly learn. And as soon as you think you know, that's when you know that you don't know.
I hope fans are listening to that one, because they always want to know, well, wait, why my team stop hitting? Why'd they stop doing this? Because the shit happens. And when it happens for a 5-game stretch in the middle of July, nobody notices. But when it happens for a 5-day stretch in October, that's all we want to talk about, man.
It's tough. It's very difficult. The pitchers are very, very good. They work their whole life on making their pitches deceptive and to get you out. And you work your whole life to try to figure out how to hit these deceptive pitches. So it's a very, very, it's one of the hardest things to do in all of sports. So that's probably what happened.
All right. I got one last one for you. I know it's your favorite time of year, not just because of the Fall Classic and you love being a champion and everything else. You and Lex, for years, if I remember correct, loved dressing up for Halloween. I remember all the costumes that we'd seen in years past. What do we have in store coming up?
I guess you're going to have to wait and see. Follow the Instagram at Hunter Pence. Lexi is the one. She's the producer of all of this and the creative. But we have had a lot of fun. I do love Halloween. Fall is my favorite. And so we got a fun one coming up. I think we're going to have some good stuff, some good content coming soon for you. But I mean, the year we were the Marv from Home Alone, everyone was saying that I looked like him because I had grown my hair out and I looked kind of, wacky. So it was like, well, let's be it. Let's see what they. And I've always said that I look like Napoleon Dynamite, and no one ever believed me until I did that. And they're like, wait, that's you? I was like, I just got to shave my face and get a little curl in the hair,
So did you do this a lot as a kid? Did you love dressing up as a kid, or was this more of an adult thing that you found?
This is more of a me and Lexi thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I didn't do a bunch of costumes. I didn't do very good until we got together. She's the creative. She's the theater. And I just like to make fun of myself. I think it's fun.
I did the Vote for Pedro shirt all the time, too. That's pretty damn good.
It's a classic. I love that movie.
Yeah. I went as Bret Michaels one year on Best Damn Sports Show, period, because my wife, Michelle, had a thing for Bret Michaels. I actually wore the outfit home.
Oh, dang. That was a good night, huh?
Yeah, well, it was a good night for Rose,
The baby. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Believe me. I'll dress up as anything you want these days. When you've been married 27 years, you start taking an order. Be like,
hey, that's pretty impressive. How do you? What's the secret to 27 years of marriage?
She went deaf a long time.
Come on.
No, I'm kidding. She no, you know what? We're pretty good communicators with one another. When we don't like something, we talk it out pretty well. So, and she puts up with a lot. You know, I've got 2 grown boys that are almost 24 and 19. So it has been a heavy sports household. So to her credit, she understands that it's the business, but she has gone along with it. So I will give her, 92% of the credit. I think I deserve 6.5, and the dog gets the other 1.5. So
that's fair.
That's that. Dude, it's great catching up with you. This flew by. I appreciate your time. I know that even though you're in retirement, you got a lot of stuff going on. So thank you very much for taking some time here. And don't be a stranger. I love catching up with you. You always have great thoughts in the baseball world.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, thinking of me, and I am excited for tonight. I'm sure you are too. Do you have a pick for the game and the series? Before you let me go, I want to hear Rose's thoughts on this is going to be a wild one.
Yeah, I think so too. So what I always root for are long series. I think we'll head back to Los Angeles. I think that the Dodgers will end up winning this one in 7. I think that we're going to get an amazing series. There could be a blowout or 2 in the 7 games. You won't remember those unless it's a 3-homer game by somebody. You could get that in there. But I think that we're coming back to Los Angeles for something special. And I think the Dodgers are going to get one out. And you?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, as a Giants fan, it's tough to say this, but I do think the Dodgers are going to win this one. But I'm hoping like you for a long series. But I got the Dodgers. I would say 5 games, but let's hope for 7.
You think it ends in New York, huh?
I just think the Dodgers are really good.
You know, here's my thing. I got a little bit in trouble with some Yankee fans.
They're probably going to get mad. I hope that they prove me wrong. Like I'm rooting for the Yankees. I mean,
yeah, I don't care who people, because there's only 2 teams you can pick, and you can only pick one if you're going to just say here's a winner. So the other teams, you hate us. No, we don't hate you. You asked me who I thought was going to win. What I said was that since 2009, the Yankees have not had an easier path to get to the World Series. That doesn't mean it's an easy one. It just means that out of the 15 years that they've had since making it in 2009, 1 year has to be the hardest. 1 year has to be the easiest. This is the easiest based on the 2 teams they played. And I say that as a Cleveland fan. They have not faced, you could take the best players from the Royals lineup, whom they faced in round 1, and the Guardians lineup, whom they faced in round 2. Take the best players, put them together to make an everyday lineup, and it still wouldn't be close to the one the Dodgers are going to trot out there.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, when I think about it on the other side of things of who the Dodgers are facing, I really like the Yankees lineup too. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I love it's going to be exciting to watch, the Dodgers come and face, Stanton and how hot he is and how well he does in LA. He's from LA. Grew up in the I think what is it, Winnetka or something? I don't know, somewhere over there. But
yeah, he went to Notre Dame High School.
Soto, Judge, and Stanton, and this stage, it's going to be a fun one to watch. So hopefully it's 7, like you said, and we'll see what happens. But you can't. Once again, with baseball, if you think you're wrong.
Yep, that is the truth. Tell Lex we say hi, please, and I cannot wait to see your Instagram on Halloween night. I will let you know what I think of the costume.
All right.
We'll get 2 thumbs up. For our amazing producer, Robbie Scirocco, and the 4-time All-Star, the 2-time World Series champion, Hunter Pence, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.